This is Joana Saahirah with another video I hope will inspire you to dance and to live better. This one is about emotion and how to bring more emotion to your dance. I've shot another video on feeling in Egyptian dance, so you may want to check that out. I will put the link below in the description box of this video. But this one is about the ways or some of the ways you can use to make your dance more emotional, more full of feeling, more full of love, of passion, of intensity. And it's important to repeat that Egyptian dance without emotion is not Egyptian dance. It's very important that you understand once you start learning Egyptian dance what makes it Egyptian dance, and feeling is one of those things. Although nowadays you see a trend, a tendency, a fashion to put the emphasis on doing and the quantity of movements and the tricks and the speed and the aggressivity, the fact is Egyptian dance, as I've known it in many years of study and career in Egypt and experience around the world, is not something dry, aggressive, masculine, going into battle. It's in its essence an emotional response to the music. Take that in, write it down. Egyptian dance is, in its essence, an emotional response to the music. And not only to the music, an emotional response to the moment, what is happening right now. An emotional response to life. How am I feeling right now? What's happening in my life? How can I use it in my dance? How can I put it in my dance so that my dance is a true reflection of who I am and how I am right now? So it's a true reflection of the present moment that will never be repeated. This is magical, you see. So after you have that clear in your mind, that Egyptian dance without emotion is not Egyptian dance, then you start wondering, okay, how can I make it more emotional? So there is one very important factor here that I often speak about to my students, and it's about culture and education. Some cultures are more emotionally expressive. You know, people as a group are incentivized, they are put at ease where emotional expression is concerned. So in Arabic society and in Latin societies, we are very emotionally expressive. Okay, you will always know what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling from my face, because I'm constantly communicating it. I don't keep it inside. You are always knowing how excited or how sad I am by the way my body moves, my body language, because then again, I was used to an environment that allows me that expression, allows me to perhaps not express how I think, but express how I feel. These are different kinds of freedom, and it's a very interesting subject if you think about it. You know, it's very rare that you will find a country or a culture that empowers us to be free on a mental, intellectual level. But some societies, like the Arabic and the Latin, for instance, they at least allow us to express ourselves emotionally. So this is one side of the story. Depending on the culture, the country that you grew up in, you will have already a predisposition to express yourself emotionally or not. Then there comes education, how your parents raised you, all right? While you were growing up, did you feel you could cry when you felt like crying? Did you feel you could express rage? Did you feel that you could express yourself in a vulnerable way, that you could speak with your parents and with your sisters and family members and colleagues and teachers freely and openly on an emotional level? Or were you raised by parents who tell you not to cry, to be strong, that big girls don't cry or boys don't cry? You know, this changes the way you are wired to react to life and to music emotionally. So if you grew up in an environment that was not allowing you to express yourself emotionally, chances are you will become an adult who has difficulty in that. So sometimes what we do as adults, we have to re-educate ourselves. And this is one of the things Egyptian dance does. It asks you to re-educate yourself in many ways, many ways. And this is one of the points I love the most about Egyptian dance, is that you have to somehow be your own mother, your own father as an adult in order to get into the Egyptian dance dimension, okay? And if you were not a kid, a child who was allowed to express himself or herself emotionally, then you will eventually have to become an adult who teaches himself or herself to do that. Another aspect that I want to bring is emotion slows you down. Having an emotional experience while you're dancing will naturally slow you down. And you have to pay attention to this because, as I already mentioned, nowadays we see a trend that is very, very fast. And it brings the dance with such an aggressivity, such a speed, such a stress that it's almost impossible to feel. Think about every time you are deeply moved emotionally. We tend to be still, right? Remember, any moment where you felt, moved from the heart, what did you do? You stopped. We don't feel in a rush. We don't feel deeply in movement. In order to feel deeply, we stop. So there is a characteristic connected to emotion that actually goes totally against the current trend in Egyptian dance, which is do, run, 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 faster, faster, more aggressive, more, compete, go, show them more, give me some tricks. It is very martial, it is very dry, it is very emotionally sterile as well. So the second thing you have to understand about emotion is that it slows you down. And if you are in this mouse wheel, if you are in the stress of rushing and doing and running and proving and doing more and showing more, you will have a hard time, because once you start feeling, you will feel that you are slowing down, so you will stress more and you will jump out of it immediately. You will not allow yourself to sink into the moment and to feel whatever is coming, because unconsciously you will think, I'm stopping, I'm slowing down, I have to keep running. So in order to become more emotional in your dance and also in your life, you have to address the need for the pause. You have to address the need for stillness. I speak about this in my first book, The Secrets of Egypt, Dance, Life and Beyond. Go and check it. Yeah? Stillness, pause, silence. These are some of the most important parts of any dance style, not only Egyptian dance, but Egyptian dance in particular. So aside from education and cultural background, ask yourself if you allow yourself to stop. Or are you the kind of person who is always on the go, always in the stress of running from point A to point B? Because if you are, then again you will have to re-educate yourself to allow yourself to stop, to listen and to react emotionally and let the emotion sink in and really be there instead of running for the next step, running for the next thing. Another thing I want to tell you about emotion is that it will expose you. And many of us are very uncomfortable with exposure, emotional exposure. Now, in this aspect, I've always been very open and even criticized because of this. I will communicate and share personal experiences if I think they will be helpful to other people, if I think that somehow they will inspire someone or they will help someone. I don't share everything because some of the things I've lived, positive and not so positive, they're personal, but they're also not very useful for the public. I don't think they will really help anyone. So I don't share for the sake of sharing, but I share my personal world if I think in some way it's something that can inspire, something that can be universal, something that others can relate with and help them with. Yeah, so it is very important that you also ask yourself, am I willing to be vulnerable? Am I willing to expose my heart while I'm dancing, or am I not? You know, and I've had students, especially in private classes, that tell me, oh, I'm not willing to go there because I don't want to share my private world with the world. And what I tell them is, it's your choice. You know, nobody can force you to do that. And this is where teachers cannot really invade your space. You know, there are many ways a teacher can um, push you, but not in this aspect. You have to want to make it. You have to want to expose your heart. If you don't want it, no teacher can make it for you, and no teacher should pressure you also. The maximum I can say, I can do, is telling you, look, Egyptian dance without this heart opening willingness, it's not really Egyptian dance. But if you don't want to go there, it's your choice, it's your right. Okay, every step of evolution in Egyptian dance and outside of Egyptian dance, it's always a choice. So you can always say, no, I don't want to expose my world. I don't want to move from a vulnerable point. I don't want to open my heart. And I have to respect that, but you have to know that something precious will be missing from your dance, and something precious will be missing from your experience of the dance. You will not go as deep, and you will not have the depth of the journey that you could have if you actually open your heart. So it's your choice, okay, ultimately. Now, how can you make emotion more present in your dance? How can you bring more feeling to your dance? Well, aside from understanding the points I already mentioned, which is already a big help, what I can say is, first of all, you have to listen more. And this is something my students have heard me saying many times. You have to listen more, listen. Usually dancers are too focused on moving, they are too focused on what will I do. Instead of going from that point, what you have to do, you have to listen. In my first book, which I already mentioned, I talk about the 3 gates of Egyptian dance. The first gates are the ears, listening. The second gate is the heart, where the music will kind of stop, you know, like a gas station to fuel. It will stay there marinating, you know, stirring here. And then the third gate will be the physical movement, the actual dance, what we consider dance, okay? So before you actually move, there are 2 gates you have to go through, the ears and the heart. And most dancers go to the third gate immediately. They don't really listen, and they don't feel what they listen. And this is perhaps the major problem and the major reason why most dancers are not emotional. Most dancers will not bring emotion to their dance because they don't listen to the music, and they don't allow the music to sink into their heart and move from that place, because this is the natural movement of Egyptian dance. Listening, feeling, movement, not movement immediately, okay? So first thing, listen, feel, and only then move, okay? Second tip, become softer. Yes, more feminine. And I mentioned this topic in different videos and in different courses that I teach around the world and at Joana Saahirah's online dance school. But it comes to the surface more and more for different reasons. Feeling has to do with the feminine. It has to do with a feminine attitude. This is why also emotion is usually associated with women, although men have it as well. You know, all of us have feminine and masculine energies inside of us. Those are just principles that are in all nature. Human nature and everything around us is filled with feminine and masculine principle. Yeah, the pause and the action. Yeah, the silence and the music, the going and staying, the giving and the receiving. These are all dynamics, masculine and feminine, that exist in everything, men, women, everything, okay? So the second tip to become more emotional in your dance, to bring more feeling, is to become more feminine. And this may sound very easy, but it's actually so hard to do nowadays. I am very masculine, so I can speak for myself. I consider myself someone with a predominance of masculine energy. I'm very go, 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 very, you know, martial, like I go for stuff. I always had a hard time sitting back and receiving. You know, I always had a hard time being smoother. For me, it's much easier to go to the martial ground and fight and go into battle. This is, you know, what I do naturally. So this has been a huge lesson for me to become more feminine. And this is something that Egyptian dance has taught me along the way. Why becoming more feminine will bring more emotion to your dance? Because, you know, becoming more feminine is about receiving, it's about feeling, it's about doing less, but doing it with love, doing it with intention. It's about not fighting, it's about co-creating with the music, it's about accepting how you feel right now and working with it instead of working against it. Being more feminine, it's about working with your body as well, not against it. You know, being more feminine, it's about being more loving, going for those emotions and those impulses that are connected with tenderness, are connected with kindness, are connected with smoothness. So the second tip I will give you is to bring more feminine into your dance. Change your attitude from a go, 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 do, 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 do attitude to a more receptive, a more laid back, a more open attitude. One more tip I'm going to share with you to bring emotion. Listen to each phrase of the music that you are dancing and check inside, how do those phrases move you? If you are improvising, and this happens to me, it happened many times while I was performing in Cairo, so I would dance a song for the first time on stage without knowing it very well. This is hard to do because you don't really have the time to dissect phrase by phrase. You just react as you go for the first time. But most of you are working, is working in choreographies or is working with songs that you can actually listen to before you dance and listen to many times. So what you can do is you listen phrase to phrase without moving, even with your eyes closed, and see, how does this move me? How does this make me feel? How does this violin make me feel? How does this tabla make me feel? How does this this nut, this lute make me feel? How does this ney make me feel? How does this oud make me feel? How does this accordion make me feel? Yeah? This is important because each instrument, each sound, each phrase will move you in a different way. And what happens is, most of the times dancers are so focused on the movement, so focused on what they will do, they forget to just create a personal connection with the music. And this personal connection is separated from movement. You know, you don't need to move in order to be emotionally connected to a certain music. You know, when I was living in Cairo, I used to stop when I could at coffee shops and listen to Kulthum, mostly with men, because usually in the coffee shops in the street, you will find men, the majority. And I will sit and listen with them. Nobody was moving. I was not moving, certainly, and they were not. But there was so much emotional connection with the music because each one of us was paying attention to each phrase, words, instruments, silences, and we were allowing the music to move us, even if we were not moving. And this exercise of creating a personal relationship with the music is essential. It's an essential part of your training, actually, and it's something that is lacking from the Egyptian dance teaching around the world. You know, everybody is like going crazy and, you know, running with choreographies and pushing people to be like athletes. And although there is a very positive side to that, you know, I love choreography. I use choreography in mostly everything that I do, but it's not enough. Teaching a choreography, it's not teaching dance. So let's not confuse things, okay? Teaching a choreography is not enough. It's a part of the teaching process, but there are many other aspects of the dance that do not come from memorizing a choreography, okay? So instead of just moving automatically, take your time to listen to the music. You know, I give you another example. When I was rehearsing with my musicians in Cairo, I would sit with a notebook and listen to each song attentively and make notes of the things I want to improve. So I would tell them, you know, in this section I need more tabla, in this section the violin should be lower, in this section I need the correct rhythm, in this section, in this phrase I need a little bit more nay, in this section I need the accordion a little bit louder, in this section whatever. So I took mental notes of the music, how I wanted it to be performed, how I wanted it for my dance. And I didn't move. I rarely moved in my rehearsals, rarely. Because listening and feeling and creating a personal relationship with the music was super important for me. It was a huge important step, you know, towards a performance that would end up being a reflection of who I am and how I feel and how that music moves me. So do not focus so much or so exclusively in movement. Create a personal relationship with the music. Sit down with a piece of music you're going to dance. Take notes or just close your eyes and listen phrase by phrase and start to become a close, intimate lover with that music. Okay? As usual, there is so much more to share. So I hope you will join me somewhere around the world or at Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School, which is relaunching very, very soon. Find informations in the box below this video. Meanwhile, use these tips to your best benefit. Use them, use them. Bring more emotion to your dance. Bring more emotion to your life, you know, because without heart, there is no dance, and without heart, there is no life. Stay well. I will see you soon. Until then, receive a huge, huge, huge kiss. Mwah.